to the cloud.
I guess we know that. So this is the meeting of July 21st, and we are live, and we have the board, we have the whole board, and we have Susan Gomberg, with whom we're going to talk soon about the foot clinic. The first thing on the agenda, can we approve the minutes of the previous meeting, which was June 23rd? Were there any suggestions or suggested changes, or does everybody like them?
Good to go.
Okay, hearing no objections, we'll go on. We need some officers. So now we've got our whole new board. I'm working on this paid clerk thing. We're working on a job description that won't scare somebody completely off. And I am going to modestly nominate myself as chair. Noreen has been very generous with her time in being chair, but she's also got other big responsibilities. And with MAFCO and with that other thing, Noreen, what is that? Remind me.
It's the Western Mass Homeland Security Council.
Right, yeah, and plus on the emergency management team. So she's got her hands full. So I am willing to do that and to not have a clerk an official clerk at the time, so we can have a space for that person to come in. Do we need a vice chair? Nobody seems to feel
we have not needed one before.
That's true. That's true, but we've always had a chair and a clerk.
It's true. Also, yes.
Well, let's see how it goes. And do you have any sense of when, what the time frame is for the approval of a clerk, Kat?
I don't. I think they've essentially approved the position since we have money to pay for it. And now we're kind of ironing out the details. The thing that could take long is finding a person to do it. And it's hoped that we can kind of share with one of the other committees or boards or departments so that it makes it more attractive. And of course, we would be really good to work for because we're nice. And we don't have people come to our meetings and scream, which apparently happens to some of the other things. So maybe we could just do without a vice chair unless somebody wants to nominate him or herself unless we find that we need one, and then we can always add that.
The concept of a vice chair being unfamiliar to me, let me just ask, would you imagine that to be someone who would act as a chair in the absence of the chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although our general MO has been, if I'm not here, we don't have a meeting. So,
right.
So that's not usually a problem. But
I think we've sort of survived that way for a while.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, we could skip that. And if we find a need for that, we can elect one.
Are you planning on going away?
No.
Okay.
No,
just asking.
To be here. Yeah, right. I'm planning to be here.
Okay.
So shall we do a, whoops, what's that? Is somebody joining us?
Whoops.
Nope.
Nope.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm okay
Yeah, we
at
can
this
see
point
you also.
going without a vice chair myself.
Okay.
And I would second your nomination.
And yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, aye.
Thank you. Can I vote for myself?
Yes.
Do I really want to? Maybe not. We'll call it unanimous.
Yes.
And shall we just vote to continue our committee assignments as we have them, or does anybody want to change something? Doesn't sound that way.
No.
So I move that we vote to continue the committee assignments that we now have. And that includes Arlene's unnamed assignment as our sort of medical point person. If you would like to have a name for that, we can always make one up.
Surgeon General.
Yeah, right. I like, that's good.
in
That's
general.
good. I like it. I don't need a title unless
Okay.
one has to be arrived at, but yeah.
No, not really. Just it
Although
seems
I
like-
really do like Surgeon General. That'd be great.
Czar, yeah, that would be good.
Oh,
Yes.
what Cliff says it's the what czar?
Grand Czar. Grand.
Oh, the Grand Czar. Cliff
Grand
says,
Czar,
should
okay,
be
yeah.
named. Okay.
That's good. That works.
Well, I think after all the years that both of you have spent on the board, that you should have some title.
Oh, I say, right? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Cat's
if
got to
we-
be Cat, you have to be approaching 30 years. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sat with the board for a year before I actually joined it. And that was my first board meeting, I know, because our digital minutes start then, was June 5th, 1991.
There you go. You just passed your 30th. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I wasn't,
All right.
I wasn't a member. I was just a volunteer.
So when we
first year.
gather in August, there has to be some sort of a thing going on there.
Also-
A
Okay.
thing, okay,
Thing.
right. Definitely a thing.
Wow.
Okay, on the committee assignments.
Yeah.
Can I have a second?
Second, I second that we continue a continuation of the current committee assignments.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thanks. Very quickly, Arlene, can you update us on the Campylobacter outbreak?
It can be very quick. There's not a whole lot to say. On June 19th, there was a backyard gathering in Shutesbury. It was catered, 50 guests. And the caterer was an outfit out of East Hampton. And within a couple of days, certainly within the window of the typical incubation period, 2 people were confirmed positive for Campylobacter, and another 6 people had very suggestive symptoms, but just for whatever their reasons, they were not tested. Some of those 6 were treated empirically, which means a clinical diagnosis and treatment without testing. And
Mhm.
so I was following the one Shutesbury resident who was a case, and created what's called a foodborne illness complaint form that goes into Maven, and that started the ball rolling on an investigation. The caterer has been inspected. The staff have been tested for Campylobacter. I don't know all those final results, but no further, no one beyond those 8 or suspected or confirmed cases to my knowledge. The take-home message is, if you're ever offered chicken liver pate at a gathering, you might want to pass on it.
In the summer.
Or I guess it's notorious for Campylobacter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So, and
Oh.
it is the most suspect item on the menu. So, but it
Uh-huh.
was interesting to go through that process. I had not been through a foodborne illness outbreak. And only one of those people affected was one confirmed case, and 4 suspect cases were Shutesbury residents.
And how did you hear about it?
Through Maven. Maven, do you know about what's called Maven? The
No.
acronym is for the Massachusetts Virtual Epidemiologic Network. I'm happy to show you about Maven sometime, Wim. It's a database that I check every single day, at least a couple times a day. And reportable diseases pop up in my on my dashboard, and prompt, in most cases, a case investigation. In the case of COVID, prompts case investigation and contact tracing. But some other things like Campylobacter just prompts an investigation of the source.
Mhm.
It would be good if WIM could learn that from you and kind of be your backup.
Well, there is
was
a
just gonna
whole
say that.
Maven training that, I mean,
Uh-huh.
if you want to name another person on the board who is to become a Maven user, there's a process of that the DPH does to train that person and onboard them. And
Mhm.
so that's not something that I can just do. They
Okay.
have to be onboarded by DPH, sorry.
But maybe Wim can take a look at what you're doing and think about it, because I think the
Yeah, sure.
backup idea makes a lot of sense.
It's very, I have to say, it's very interesting.
I bet. Yeah.
Me, anyway. Yeah. Gary, you're not a Maven user, right? Yeah, okay.
No.
So that's all I have to say about the Camp Live. It's, everything is done and over. I don't think anything more is emerging about that.
Okay. I'm just making a note for myself for later. All right, I think it is past 7:15, and I know Susan is here. Is Linda here also?
I
Linda
am.
Scott? Hi, Linda. How have you been?
Hi. Hi, I'm all right. It's
Good.
yeah.
So you guys want to start the foot clinic operation at Town Hall again? You want to tell
Well,
us about that?
Well, yeah. First, we want to thank and appreciate each of you for everything.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
So perhaps I don't know if Garrett and Wim are familiar that the Council on Aging, prior to the pandemic, held a monthly foot clinic in Town Hall. The foot clinic was staffed by a foot care nurse from Foot Care by Nurses based in Greenfield. And we would, Susan Gomberg, who is on the phone, she was the coordinator of the clinic. Since when Foot Care by Nurses reopened last spring, they offered a home visit program. So that's what we've been doing since, well over a year ago. We started a home visit program for our current clients. And then early this year, we offered for any new people, because that was our concern, was that, anybody who was newly in need of foot care wouldn't be able to access it. So that's what we've been doing. We're not in any, on a timeline or have any sense of urgency about restarting the foot clinic in Town Hall. We really wanted to, Susan asked me to be the designated speaker, but Susan, please pop in at any moment. We kind of, it's all new now. And we don't know if, in fact, Town Hall is ready for when Town Hall will really be ready for us to start in, because as you know, people are now able to come in and do business, but there haven't been any meetings in, groups of people. So anyway, we're curious if you have any thoughts, feedback. We really need guidance when we get ready. Susan and I are here to gather information, which we would then bring back to the full council.
Susan, I kept seeing your icon come up. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I don't know. I think I was just going to chip in with what Linda was saying. Basically, whenever we do get back, what are the Board of Health, what are your thoughts on how we would need to protect our clients, protect ourselves in terms of COVID, which, we weren't doing when we were back there over a year ago. So we're just looking for some thoughts that you might have on what we would need to do whenever we do get back. But again, as Linda said, we're in no rush to get back. The home care visits are continuing. So we're just looking for sometime whenever in the future we do get back, what would we need to do in terms of taking care of our people?
Before we get to that part, let me tell you that that yes, town hall is open. There is a fancy ventilation system downstairs that seems to work really well in just keeping the air changed. We're about to start having meetings at town hall. That's one of the things that I have to bring up tonight. So as far as the building goes, my sense is that it could pretty much happen at any time. It would be wise to ask the opinion of the people who are in town hall, Grace and Becky especially, and see how they feel about that. But I wonder if Arlene and Wim would have thoughts about protocols.
I wondered, just maybe you could let us know, for your program, is it more convenient and efficient for both you and your clients to do it at town hall?
This is Susan, I would say for our clients, they're probably just as happy staying at home because they don't have to travel to town hall. The foot care nurse probably would be happier just going to one place rather than 6 places in one morning.
Yep. And
So-
what was the volume before the pandemic? How many people would you see?
We would see 8 people on a monthly clinic, and I believe she's seeing 6 because cutting down because of the traveling time. But we did
Yep.
see 8 every clinic.
Right.
Got
Well, though I want to, say that we haven't, we don't have any unmet need. Sue, that's as far as you know,
No, we don't.
right?
That is, there aren't people asking for appointments whom you can't accommodate? Is that what you mean?
Yes, correct. Correct.
Right.
We did have one person coming from Amherst, so we have to factor that person out.
Ah.
Yeah.
And you would schedule appointments?
In the town hall, is that the question?
Yeah.
Yes, we scheduled half-hour time slots
Oh,
for these people.
Susan, may
Yes.
I ask, is there already a protocol in place, for instance, in which patients are asked screening questions about any symptoms they may have and about their vaccination status?
No, as far as I know, not.
Okay. It is
nurse
that,
The nurse from Foot Care by Nurses goes into the home as a visiting nurse would, but
I see,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't deal with them, so it's up to her right now.
I see.
Right.
But
Right.
it's that sort of thing that I imagine would be, from my point of view, the recommended protocol, that there be in advance of their visit, a set of screening questions answered about whether or not they have had any symptoms or have been in close contact with a person positive for COVID, and about their vaccination status.
And so that would be, are those questions that a volunteer can ask?
I would imagine that the foot care nurse
Mm-hmm.
who's going into the home is probably already asking.
Right, during the home visit, we're not, that is being handled all by the Foot Care by Nurses business at the home visit program, where we are only at this point in time subsidizing the cost of the visit. Sue and I aren't doing any of the organization or phone calls or anything about the home visit program. That's all in the ballpark of Foot Care by Nurses. So when we come back into town hall, that's when Sue Gomberg would resume. People would call our Council on Aging phone line and leave a message about an appointment. And Sue Gomberg would be doing this. She would be doing the scheduling.
Okay.
So
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 to answer,
that's what we're, that's why we're feeling like, ooh,
well, to answer your question about whether a volunteer could ask that, I mean, that is not up to the Board of Health to dictate. I think that is within the realm of your organization about who is authorized to ask what kinds of medical history, et cetera, questions. And does anyone on the board disagree with that? Do you think we are the ones to say what their volunteers can and cannot ask? I don't see that as our role.
No,
So you as an organization decide that, what your volunteers can ask and what they cannot.
okay.
Do you have a confidentiality policy within
Um,
your organization about volunteers versus nurses?
We've never been in this,
Just hasn't come up. Huh?
we've never been in this
Okay.
position before.
Yeah.
Who in the program knows the person's medical history?
The book care, the nurse,
Okay,
the professional nurse is the one who does the intake and, does all of that. We don't do anything other than schedule the people and collect their donation. Right, Sue?
Correct. Yes.
When I go to the dentist, I get a text from them that has 3 questions on it about symptoms or if I'm awaiting a test or if I,
in a
and
contract,
so it's,
yeah,
so it's not very specific. And they
Right.
say, if the answer to any one of these questions is yes, then something else has to happen, so that it's
Yeah.
not quite as specific. It's more,
yeah,
it's not as, you're not really finding out. You're just knowing
Yeah.
that something, it would prevent them from keeping that appointment.
I have no reason to think that your volunteers could not ask these questions. I mean, they are being asked in workplaces,
Right.
in schools, in all sorts of group situations before a person can have an in-person presence. So it is not specific to medical professionals that these questions are being
yeah.
asked.
Can we require people to wear masks?
yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I
What
think you
cleaning
should.
of- If we go back into the senior lounge where Grace has some belongings and town clerk materials now, what cleaning of the room would need to be done after the foot clinic was there whenever we get back there?
No special cleaning.
Okay.
No special cleaning?
Correct.
So when you say no special cleaning, are you thinking of regular cleaning?
Yes,
I mean,
whatever routines you followed in between clients in the past, I think are fine. I mean, if there isn't any surface cleaning that is specifically recommended in places with like this. And I don't know, I'm not articulating this very well, but correct me, anyone, if you know differently, but
No, as in any clinical setting, just between patients, you surface clean if they're sharing some equipment, and it sounds very well ordered because you have one person at a time.
I
Yes, we
can
do.
provide to you a link to this current CDC advice about cleaning in the context of COVID, if that's what you're worried about. But there generally are not unusual cleaning requirements
Okay.
above and beyond what would be done in any other clinical situation. I assume you are not, what happens to instruments that are used?
Well, that
In between clients.
that's the foot care by nurses. They have their protocols, and
Right,
Sue can speak
exactly.
more to that because she has
Sure.
visited,
Yeah. And that's not specific to COVID. That is just,
Right.
About instrument.
Right, they
usage,
have
like
a-
anywhere else.
Sue, you can describe it.
The foot care nurse brings everything she needs, has treats each person, with new instruments and whatever.
Yeah.
So she takes care of all that.
Yeah.
There's no instruments that we clean.
Right.
I was talking with her today, and she was just talking about the methods that they use. But that's all with her. So from what I'm hearing in the discussion, it seems like the Board of Health would be okay with us going back into the room, using no particular cleaning protocols for COVID except whatever the CDC would recommend and what we would do before. Everyone should wear a mask, and it would suffice if we came up with a questionnaire that people would questions that they would answer prior to an appointment. Is that correct?
Correct. And those
That sounds
screening
right.
questions might include, in the last few days, have you experienced fever, cough, shortness of breath, or new loss of sense of taste or smell? I think those are the big ones that are screening questions for COVID.
And,
Sore throat also, excuse me.
pardon me?
Sore throat also.
throat, thank you.
Excuse me.
And I would assume that the foot care nurse is asking those questions before they go into the home. So they probably already have a
Right.
set standard screening that they're using.
Yeah, that's why I asked about what protocols are already in place.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. Maybe Sue can.
I can't specifically, but and I've never been a home care nurse, but I'm guessing if a home care nurse goes into the home, even if those questions are positive, I don't know for sure.
Oh,
Does the foot care, do you know, are those, Susan, do you know if they're asked of the the home visiting people?
I don't know. No.
Okay.
I would think that regardless of what they do on the home visits, if
Right.
people are if there's a strong suspicion that they might be infected, that we wouldn't want them to come to town hall,
Well,
and that
no,
their
no.
appointment should be canceled.
yes.
Right.
If
right.
yes to any of the screening questions, they should seek evaluation and not be seen in the foot.
Schedule, yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. I don't, Susan, are you okay? Are you set?
Yep, I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for your time.
Thanks.
Yeah,
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
So I am soon going to duck out, but I would like to throw out one thing just for people to consider. I do not need an answer and I don't need any action on this, but some of the recent rains and road conditions, as well as our recent heat waves, have had me at times wondering whether or not we have, among our emergency preparedness sorts of plans, do we have any shelter plans in place, say with 100-degree temperatures and folks not having air conditioning, or roads being washed out. So I just don't know what kind of plan is in place, whether there's a shelter plan at the elementary school or something similar. And I've wondered about it. And if there is a plan, do we make it public, I guess?
That sounds like a question for the emergency management team. Has that
Mhm.
been discussed at all, Noreen or Garrett?
Not that I'm aware of.
And not recently.
Okay,
No.
So
And
maybe
so-
next time.
maybe we
My
can
time
give some
here,
thought to it.
I feel like the fire station or the town hall was opened briefly for an extended heat period.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. All right, to be continued.
I have one quick question for you, Arlene,
Mhm.
and I won't go into the details, but if we were to have a focus group to look at on an after action review of COVID, just involving our own EDS team. Would you be available the week of August 9th through 13th? Kat and I thought that was a good week since that's when we're going to,
Have our
We're-
party.
we're going to have our
Yes.
party.
Let me take a, I think there's nothing else on my calendar, but I'm just going to go to my
Well,
calendar.
Yeah, you don't,
briefly.
you don't really need to do it now, but we'll send around the calendar that,
Right.
Oh, okay.
of available dates to
Yeah,
everybody.
Sure. I think I am fine that whole week.
Okay, great. We were
Looks
kind of
good.
looking at that week. Thank you.
Yeah,
That helps.
Okay, great.
Okay, so if you don't have anything else, Arlene, you should go on and back to your
Yeah.
guests. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
And I'm
sparing
sorry
us this
to-
time.
And I'm sorry to have this happen, 2 recent meetings. It's not typical. Sorry.
No, of course it isn't. Usually you're
Okay.
here all the time.
Okay,
Okay, have a
thanks a
nice
lot.
time.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 So one of the things I want to add this in here before I forget, because I was talking with Becky about it today. The library trustees are looking to try to get this small library grant, and the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners has narrowed it down to 4 towns, of which we are one, and they are going to go around and they're going to have meetings in person. And so they are envisioning a meeting at Town Hall, in the big room at Town Hall, that between the MBLC and the Finance Committee and the Select Board and the library trustees is going to be 18 to 20 people. Becky and I measured the room today, and it's about 900 square feet. And basically, she wants us to say whether it's all right to have that many people in there or not. They're all going to be masked. They have the ventilation system. Do we have any opinions about this?
When is this?
It's going to be fairly soon, but I don't remember right now when.
And there's no Zooming.
It's going to be an in-person meeting of those people that I named. And there's going to be a sort of primitive Zoom with a laptop so that the public can view the meeting without participating. And then there's going to be something else later with the public outdoors.
All right.
But yeah, all those people are intended to be there in person. And for some reason, the MBLC really wants an in-person meeting. I think they want to get a sense of the town in a more on the ground way than by Zoom.
There's nothing prohibiting it currently.
Right. Good point.
And if we can get a new library out of it, go ahead.
Well, that's the way I feel about it, for sure. Obviously, they're not going to, they're going to be masked. They're not going to be able to have 6 foot between every 2 people. That just doesn't exist in there. They probably can set it up so they're 3 feet apart. But that's the deal, and they want us to weigh in on it. Anybody strongly object?
No.
No.
Okay. I'll tell them it's fine by us as long as they're really, really careful.
And masked, yeah.
Yeah, definitely masked. Okay. Now, has Brad Foster come in yet?
No,
Garrett?
not as of yet.
Okay, well, he's not really due yet. I just thought maybe he was there. So Noreen, do you want to give a little rundown about what we were talking about today and the focus groups and all that?
Yeah, I'll give it a little more detail and background, Wim, so
Uh-huh.
so I'm not speaking in some spaghetti that you're not understanding. There's a group called the Mohawk Area Public Health Organization, And it's a countywide group, and within it, there are 9 emergency dispensing sites. And what we do, we're the group that puts together, at least on an annual basis, some sort of practice of getting an emergency dispensing site up and running for the town. And the other thing that we engage in is we have a planner that plans for the entire county, and that planner helps us write plans for how emergencies situations will be handled in each town.
Can I
So
jump in for, Noreen, can
Sure.
I jump in for just a second to remind Wim that our flu clinics, that you participated in one of them, those were
Yeah.
EDS drills. Over to
Right.
you, Noreen.
Yes. So what this group is intending to do rather quickly is an after action review, which is a common kind of procedure that we go through to talk with all these 9 EDSs within the county to see how things have gone. And there are 9 different categories of things we're going to look at in terms of how we communicated with people in our organization, how PPE was distributed, intra-communications, emergency dispensing site plans, that kind of thing. Anyway, what they would like to do is hold focus groups with each EDS soon. They're planning some as soon as the end of July, but at the latest by mid-August. So what I'm asking for today is for us as a group, those of us who have participated in EDS, and Wim, you might want to come just to learn more about how it all works, is to participate in this focus group with a staff member from MAFCO, who will be asking a series of questions, the same questions that will be put to every EDS group. The purpose of which is to find out what we've learned, what needs to change, and how we can get better in our response. Should we have another wave, an additional wave of COVID, or should we have some other emergency in our community to just improve our response for that? So we're basically going to send out a schedule, ask people for an hour or an hour and a half of their time to participate in this focus group and answer questions that the staff member will put to us.
And it won't be just us. The EDS team includes the emergency management director, the police chief, town administrator, and some other people. I guess the school principal is on it too, as manager of the facility that we use. So we'll be inviting a lot of people.
Right, and someone who is
participate.
Right, exactly. And we were looking at the week in August from the 9th through the 13th, because we knew pretty much everyone would be back in town that week. So if you could look at your calendars and get back to us. Kat, are you going to forward that calendar to everyone?
Sure, I'll do that. And I'll also forward the list of questions so people will know what we're talking about.
Oh, and the other thing, Kat, and I should mention is if there are members of the larger group who can't make it or don't have time to participate in the focus group, that they could have the opportunity to answer some of their questions or provide us feedback, and then we would present that feedback ourselves during the focus group time.
Right.
Okay, that's pretty much it. And thank you in advance for thinking about that and being willing to participate.
And Brad has joined us.
Oh, hi, Brad. If you're saying anything, you're muted.
Just hello.
Hi. So you've got a new plan.
Yes. I talked to another well driller. I couldn't get the first well driller back.
They are so busy.
Yeah. So I called Cushing and they came down. And
good.
I had sort of one site I'd already eliminated. To me, the best site is just too difficult, too expensive, too hard. And I had another site that Henshaw hadn't seen, and Cushing said, no, this is hard also. And he went right to the front of the house and he said, here or there. And so I tried to draw those. Oh dear, one of them disappeared on my map. Whoops.
Uh-huh. Well,
One of the one that I think is the best, we have the road, the circular drive, and the house. And between the road and the circular drive is a little half circle of property. And there's
right.
a portion of that that's at or beyond the 50-foot from the septic field line. And it's roughly 20 feet from the pavement, not the property. It's much closer to the property line, but 20 feet from the road pavement and 15 feet from the driveway, 30 feet. I don't quite remember, but anyway, more from the house and from the neighbor. And that felt best. He was suggesting that we do it right in front of the house. And that made me nervous. I mean, it's easier, hugely easier to install.
What was the part that bothered you?
Well, I thought it meant that I had to put something up so the plow never shoves snow right where the well head is.
Well, they can shove snow there as long as they don't drive the plow over it.
Right. And I also, well, there's three things I worry about. That was one. And the other is, I think our foundation is funky. And I worried about having a 40-ton truck drilling feet from the foundation of the house. And then the final thing was, the well is the first step of a perpetual list of things we're trying to do to the house. And I was a little worried about doing construction right behind it. But I mean, we can manage all of those. I'm also trying to stay as far away as I can get from the septic, and maybe that's irrelevant. If you felt like the place next to the house was fine, it's a little bit closer to the septic field, not much.
So Brad, I have a file that's titled 579 West Pelham Road, proposed well sites, dated 7/21/21.
Yeah.
Is
Can I share my screen? Because I can show you what
I'm going to share. So if that's the current file, I'm going to share it.
Okay. So in the bottom, there's a thing, you can't see my cursor, but it says Site A. And what's missing is the little arrow. So it would go a little bit into that half circle of the driveway.
There is a little arrow just above the T.
No, that's where the pavement ends. Above the T.
No.
Okay, so I do have it.
I see.
It's just smaller than I wanted.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So in there, that was one site. And then the other one on the right border, you can see Site B, and it's pointing to a little box right outside the house. It's very close to the house.
Yeah.
The advantage of that is it's very close to the house. The trenching is nothing. And there's no trees. There's nothing to take away. He talked about having to dig this pit for the well fluid. And there's that line would go right through where the pit is. There's an open space the pit could go. Whereas in the other place, I have to cut trees to get the pit in too.
Site A, you mean?
In Site A, yes, all of that has trees in it.
Okay.
And it's nice because it screens us from the road. We wouldn't cut all the trees, but we would cut all the little ones. The only way to do it is to cut every little tree down that's there right now.
So your other document gives the distances here.
Yeah, in a rough sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Site A is 17 plus feet off the road pavement, about 15 feet from the driveway, 25 feet from the house, and 50 to 60 feet from the leach field.
Yeah.
25 plus from the property line.
Right. From the neighbor to the north, which is on the right-hand side.
Okay. Um, well, Site A has really good distances from our point of view, and you seem in your letter to prefer it.
Yeah, not by a huge margin.
Uh-huh.
I'm easily swayed on that score.
Mhm.
I would take either because I really want to get a drilled well in.
Yeah, 5 feet from the house is awfully close. I think I forget what our well regs um, ask for, but it's more than 5 feet.
It could be further, but the further it goes from the house, the closer it gets to the driveway. Oh, in
Right.
fact, if it was 10 feet from the house, I think I would have. I wonder if I have my dimensions right. I
Uh,
think there's 25 feet between the house and the driveway. So if it was 10 feet from the house, there'd be 15 from the driveway.
okay.
Does that work?
Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Um, so we're talking about from a dwelling or other structure, 25 feet is what we asked for.
Right. And there's no site I can get that matches all of those.
Right, right. But taking site B and just moving it 5 feet farther away from the house is that
Only a
just
little.
doesn't seem, yeah, it doesn't seem to make us seem to me to make a significant enough change. I have to say I kind of like site A. Do we have other thoughts about this? Board members?
Seems fine. How far is it from the road?
From the pavement, it's about from the property line to the road is 17 feet, and it wouldn't be on the property line. It would be very close. So call it 3 feet from property, 20 feet from the road, from the pavement.
Okay.
Okay, and we normally want what distance from the pavement? Public way, 25 feet. So that's pretty close to good enough.
I think it met the expectation of 25 feet from the neighbor's property.
Mm-hmm.
And it split the difference between the house and the road better. And we probably get a couple of feet further from the septic field.
Yeah.
Could it be sited on the inside of the driveway arc so that it's further from the road and still sort of split that difference between the house and the road?
Sure. That would be very easy. In fact, the more we go that way, the easier it is to drill. It then becomes a question of there's two things for me. One is what trade-off would you prefer? And the other is, in a way, in that site, because of the problems, the minor problems with it, I want to go to the drill people and say, roughly there, and let them choose the best. I can't pinpoint it because it's too funky. But I would be happy to move it further from the roadway, and it would be closer to the driveway.
And the distance from the driveway right now is roughly
15 feet.
okay.
And
I guess just my final question would be if that side, if we move it closer to the driveway, then how close are we to the septic field?
Oh, yeah, it's just going, maybe a foot closer.
Okay, all right.
Well, obviously, I mean, when you have a site like this, it's not a pinpoint,
Yeah.
right? There's a little bit of leeway in every direction. And that's probably why site A is
The best.
better because you just have more leeway. Whereas if you're going to put it up, that looks to me like the distance between the house and the driveway is pretty tight. And of course, there's the septic right there.
Yeah.
I like site A. I would vote for site A.
Agreed. This is Noreen.
Well, thank you.
Garrett, Wim, you with us on this?
Yes.
Garrett, you like it?
Yeah, side A. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay, Brad, I think, I guess we can stop sharing that, Garrett. I think you're good. Now,
So-
have you applied for a well permit?
No.
Okay, that's what you'll need to do next. Using that plot plan and getting the driller's information and stuff. You can get the application off our website. It's part of the well regs.
I've seen
And-
the application. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fee, I think the fee is $50, and you can send that all to the Board of Health at our post box, which you can get on our website, and then we will issue you a well permit.
Okay. So I do that, and then I go back to Cushing and I say, let's go. Put us
Yeah.
on the schedule.
Yeah, yeah,
Great.
yeah. Tell them that you're about to apply for the permit, and if they need you to do anything else, they'll tell you what it is.
Great. Thank you so much. You're great help with this.
Great.
I
Okay, well,
really-
good luck with it.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks. You too.
All right. All right. We have, while we're doing sort of business things, we have a few septic system repair permits hanging out there. One of them, 2123 Wilson Road, I went ahead and issued it because it was urgent. There was a sale in progress and it was backing up into the house. So we couldn't wait on that one. The other two, Charlie has agreed to them. They've paid their fees. They're ready to roll. 117 Leverett Road is those apartments that are on Leverett Road right opposite Pelham Hill Road. And there's two buildings, 113 and 117. And this guy, Mark Whiteman, owns them. And I've got to say, this guy's doing everything right. He put those septic systems in about 20 years ago, and he decided he better check and make sure that they were still working. And so this is a repair or, a rebuild, but it hasn't failed. He just wanted to get it before it failed. And he was one of the people who received the PFAS letter when we found contamination from the fire station, and he got the well tested there at his own expense after it was found out that there was PFAS, and it was negative. So, I mean, the guy's certainly doing the right things. So shall I go ahead and issue these permits?
Please.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, will do. So more good news. Lake Wyola is dirty, mostly because of this horrible weather that we're having. The state beach has been closed for days and apparently frequently, but I can't notice that because even though they put up the red flag, people go in there and swim in the muck, and they don't prevent it. And of course, we don't know what values they get because it's like a closely guarded secret that I'm going to ask Joe Comerford to try to pry it out of them and make it public, because it should be public. It should be public information in real time. You should not have to file a public
Right.
records request to get it. It should be out there for the public to see. So North Beach failed. We test E. coli, and 235 whatevers is the limit. They exceeded it at North Beach, and at the other beaches, they didn't do much better. They were well over 200 at both of them. So the place is a mess. I went this morning over to Quabbin Lab in Belchertown and got some water testing bottles so that we can do some more testing in other spots around the lake if we want to. And I've got LWAC money to do that with.
Okay.
They're going to retest North Beach and maybe all the beaches. I don't know if they're going to do them all on tomorrow. And so if it's really, really clean, I'm not going to bother to take any extra tests. And if it's not, I'll do the testing on Monday because that's sort of their beach testing day. It's going to be more expensive than what we used to get at Howard because they send theirs out to someplace in Connecticut.
Just a question. I think last year we had tested over by Randall Road. Do you see any need to do that? The only reason I'm asking is there are a bunch of beaver dams up this side too, especially on our side of the lake. So, I might be worth because people do go in there swimming, unfortunately.
Yeah, I want to test at Elliott Park and maybe at the dam.
Okay.
And a few places around, depending on what kind of result they get tomorrow.
Okay. Let me know if you need some help.
Okay. Thank you.
The other thing is, did the Lake Wyola Association post the beach? Had they posted it?
Yes, they did. They put up a sign. Was it maybe on a sawhorse? And I printed out that sign, that official sign with the swimmer and the takeout,
Right.
and filled it out, put it in a plastic cover. And I went and posted the beach also, but it was just small. It was 8.5 by 11. So this morning I went to Amherst Copy and Design Works, and they're going to make one that's they're going to make 4 actually, so we'll have plenty.
Good.
It's going to be 18 by 24, and it's going to be the basic yard sign, the kind you do for elections or whatever, and on metal stakes.
Oh, good.
Two-sided.
Yes.
And yeah, and then what we'll have to do is there's places where there's immediate information, like we have to say the reason for posting and the date, and we can just write that on a piece of tape and put it on there and then peel it off later so that we can reuse them, and we'll have permanent signs. And maybe I'll keep a couple here and you can keep a couple over there, and we can get them out quick when we need them. And I should have done it earlier, but
no, that's good. And I'm really grateful to have those metal signs because the wooden stakes we were using were horrible to try and get into the ground. So that's great.
Yeah. These are going to be those fine metal stakes, and those should be ready on Friday. So if anything doesn't pass next week, we'll have them.
Okay. And Wim, just to bring you up, there are 3 Lake Wyola Association beaches. I don't know how much you know about the association, and the north side is the side where the state beach is as well. So that's the beach that tested positively.
Positive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and boy, none of them was exemplary. So stay out of the water for a while. It's kind of expected when we have torrential rains like this. It usually happens. But.
Right. Thanks, Kat, for doing all that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was up early this morning. I got stuff done, I'll tell you. I don't think there's anything else we need to say about that. So Marianne asked me a while ago about Celebrate Shutesbury. I said, assume it's going to happen. We'll think about it later because it's too early to see what's going to happen in the fall. Celebrate Shutesbury is usually, I think, the 3rd Saturday in September, and we'll just have to see. At least it's an outdoor thing, so it shouldn't be a big deal. But I just wanted to kind of get it on the radar. So PFAS, DEP has been here, looked at things, and sent out letters apparently they themselves are going to go and take the water tests at the wells that they want to test. Over in the fire station, remember we had a big list of people that we sent letters to, informing them that they may be affected. They have sent permission letters to that entire list. In the other neighborhood by Wendell and Locks Pond Road, it's a smaller group that they are sampling, at least so far. I have heard that there is a well way down Pelham Hill Road that had a positive result, but I don't know how high. I don't know if it was below the threshold or not. DEP is not being diligent about informing the Board of Health, and it's pretty embarrassing. You know, people reach out first to the Board of Health, and we're like clueless about what's going on. Arlene had done some research about filtration systems that are available out there and installers who do them. So I put that on our website so that we can refer people to them. And maybe we should send out a public message soon summarizing what we know so far and also pointing them to the website for that.
So the one that you referenced, you said it was on Pelham Hill?
Yeah.
That would be the third positive?
No, there are, hang on a second, because there are a few more positives. There are two, here we go. There are 3 positives that are below the 20 parts per trillion threshold. 2 of them are in the Wendell Locks Pond Road neighborhood, and 1 of them in the fire station neighborhood, and they're all under 20. They're between 12 and 16. And I have heard by rumor that there's one further up the hill in the fire station neighborhood that is 3, but I have not got confirmation of that. So there are those positives, and then there are the 2 really bad ones that we already know about.
Because I did see on Nextdoor someone self-reporting. And so I wasn't sure if we had more information from DEP.
No, I was that person on Pelham Hill Road?
I don't know for sure. I'd have to go back and look.
Okay, did that person give the value? Or just say it was positive?
They did, in the version of the post that I saw, they did not say the value.
Okay, because the only reason I know about this is that person called us at the Board of Health number, and I returned the call and asked for the value, said that we are going to be getting information on our website and they should look for it, but also would they tell us what they value us, and I haven't heard back. I asked them to send an email, but I have the person's personal email and I'm going to try to get it. So yeah, things are, I mean, most of this is in the 2 neighborhoods that DEP expected.
It's just kind of hard to put it all together when, you know, there's individuals who are self-reporting and DEP's reporting to us, and it's hard to know the extent to which, you know, what is the actual number and the extent of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's what they're trying to find out, and they must know more than we do. But I think I'll try asking everybody that we've ever talked to at DEP, Jody Cutler and this Caprice and Elizabeth Steinhardt, and maybe even one of those guys that came to our meeting was like the commissioner. It was somebody way up in the chain, and ask if we can't be informed when they have results without waiting for this, because finally, you know, eventually they send out that letter that gives the official thing, and we get copied on that, but they don't seem to be in a hurry to send those out. And you know, it's like the COVID response. We're just getting excluded. So I'll see if I can pry some of that information out of them. And more bad news. Our opt-out application for mosquito spraying was denied. And this is where the sort of regional approach really pays off, because apparently all the towns where the risk level was considered moderate, all of their opt-out applications were denied. So it makes you wonder if there's some kind of bait and switch here where they tell you you can apply, but then they're planning to deny it anyway, no matter what you do. And so Joe Comerford is trying to get some recourse there, and I sent you the letter, so you can see that for yourself. So we just have to wait and see what happens there. Of course, the likelihood of spraying is not that great in any case. I don't think it's real risky.
And meanwhile, have we gotten any results from our testing, Kat, that you know of? For our own little mosquito district?
Yeah, we haven't, I think we have had one report from the district and they haven't found anything. We get an arbovirus summary for the whole state, and everything seems very quiet on the mosquito front.
No, I was just wondering about our own little, you know, the boxes here in town, what's happening with them.
I think they report like once a month.
Okay.
So I don't think I've seen more than one report so far. But if they found anything of concern, they would inform us. So in this case, no news is good news.
Yeah, as I recall, they don't start reporting till June. They just set the boxes out in June, I think, and then. So okay.
Yeah, it's basically a 3-month thing.
Yeah.
So that's all that I've got. Is there anything else that we should be talking about, or anybody wants to bring up?
No, just if we can plan food at our next meeting, which will be a week before we have our party. So maybe we could do that, Kat.
Yeah. Okay.
Evidently no chicken liver.
Yeah, no chicken liver.
In
Anyone
fact,
upset?
no catering from East Hampton whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. You know, the thing about Arlene called me when this happened, so I knew about it, and I recognized what she was talking about right away, because I've made pate myself. You undercook it. You undercook the liver, otherwise it gets like hard and dry. If you want it to be really soft and silky, it has to be a little bit undercooked. So keep that in mind if you're making any at home. Yeah, well, maybe we can, I mean, we're allowed to discuss that, so maybe we can send some emails around. Are we planning to meet like for, you know, afternoon into evening dinner type thing? Is that our plan?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it must be because we talked about either Tuesday or Thursday, so it's got to be evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 5-ish, 5:30-ish. I mean, if our water's clean, people can swim if they want to, or not.
Yeah, it might be. Or take boats out.
Yes.
Does anybody have any food restrictions or requirements that we should know about?
No.
Okay, and I'll check with Al. I personally can't have bivalve mollusks, but that's all.
Wasn't planning on that myself, but
Okay, good. That works for me. Okay, yeah. So everybody be thinking about what I'll even put this, right? Think about food. for the party. Oh, and I'm going to, let me make a note here, distribute the focus group stuff. Okay, so everybody think about food and we'll talk about it next time, which will be what, August 4th.
4th.
August 4th.
Believe that it's going to be August.
I know, what the hell happened here? Okay, are we done?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I'll be out of town August 4th, so just let me know what food people are thinking about, and I can do some big, if we want a big meat or something, I can do that.
Well, you and I can talk about it before you
Okay.
go. When are you going out? Are you going to the Cape?
No, we're going to the Adirondacks. We leave the 30th.
Okay.
And we'll be
Okay.
back the 5th.
Okay. Well, yeah, fine. Then we can just talk about it after the meeting. We'll see
Yeah.
what holes
Okay.
there are in the menu.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Great. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you all.
Right.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Night. Oh, I'm going to stop the meeting. I got to stop recording here.
Oh, right.